Do you want to bear fruit? That's obviously a metaphor. By fruit, I mean, like, do you want to be the kind of person out of whom comes love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control? Do you want to be this kind of person? The kind of person other people love to be around because you're kind and patient, you're a good listener, you're wise. You don't speak and spout out your mouth in ways that words become weapons. Do you want to be that kind of person? Here's how Jesus tells us we can become that way. Today's reading is John 15, and he says, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. I am the vine, and you are the branches." He's using an image that would have been common to the people in his day of a grapevine, the way fruit grows on the vine. The root comes up and it spreads out into all these branches. So imagine this. It's a grapevine. Think about a vineyard. The vine comes up and you have all these little shoots off. Now, some of the shoots bear fruit and some don't. But he says the way to bear fruit is by staying attached to the vine. I've heard this passage for a long time, abide in me and I will abide in you. And I didn't really like it until I had my own kids. And I started reading about attachment theory. As a parent, I was thinking, how do we raise these little humans? And the core of the research I started to read was about attachment parenting, that all children really need in their early years is a secure attachment. That if my kids feel secure and attached to me and to my husband, that they feel firmly rooted in our love, they will grow up healthy and strong. That the more securely they're attached to one or two people, later on they'll be much more secure in taking risks and going out in the world or in bearing fruit. When I started to read about attachment parenting, that the idea that kids who are securely rooted in their parents' presence and their love, I started to see the scripture differently, because what does it mean to abide or to remain? It just means stay attached. And what I feel like Jesus was teaching me through my early journey in parenting was, yeah, you want to bear fruit? Just stay attached to me. Stay close to me. Stay grounded in my presence and my reality, and you will bear fruit. I don't know if you've thought much about secure and healthy attachments, but that's what he's talking about. He's using the metaphor of vines, but he's talking about how do we stay attached to God. Now, I stay attached to God in moments of stillness, by centering my mind in the reality that he exists, that he's real, that he made me. Also the belief that he speaks, that if I'll slow down and turn the volume down on all the other voices in my life, that God is there ready to speak to me. How do you practice staying attached to God? Coming to church weekly is one of those practices for us. That when I anchor myself on Sundays back to the vine, when I stay attached in praise, in singing, in prayer, and looking around at a room of hundreds of other people who are trying to do this like we are, that helps me stay attached to God. What are the practices for you that help you stay attached? Jesus tells us that when we remain in him, when we're attached and connected to God, that's the way we bear fruit. It's not by the branches trying really, really hard to produce a good grape. The strength and the source actually comes from the vine itself. And God is the gardener who comes and lifts us up and secures us back to the trellis, who clips off the untidy pieces. But I love this part of the passage because what he's implying is that God is this gardener who's intimately at work tending our souls so that we will bear fruit. That when we remain attached to Jesus, God is walking through the garden daily, looking for new buds, looking for dead branches and saying, what can I do to cultivate this little soul, this little life, so that you and I can bear fruit in the world? Do you want to bear good fruit? Stay attached to Jesus. What does it look like for you to stay attached today?